Alright, so I had to move a couple cars this morning, and I figured I'd shoot a video because I kind of wanted to always do a video on this car. I've only had it for about a couple months now, but it's got a pretty cool history and a pretty cool little story that goes behind it. But got to move this one out of the way, and got to move my 70 Dart, put him back in the driveway next to the other Duster. This car is pretty neat. It's actually a real H-Code 340 car. It was in the same family for 41 years, I think 1982. Car's in pretty decent shape. I mean, frame rails are good. It needs your typical like floorboard patches, but not bad enough to cut the whole floor pan out. But it's got a little bit of quarter rust, but that's to be expected. But rockers are in great shape. Doors are really nice. They even close really nice. But this car was a kind of like a street machine back in the late 70s, early 80s. I mean, you can tell it's got the house shag carpet with the diamond kind of print on it, but still has the rally dash for the 340. It was an automatic car. It's got a cool old Sun tack in it and Sun oil pressure gauge that still work. It's got a piece of shit B&M star shifter, which I hate because it's like impossible to find gears, but it's probably mainly because the cable's falling apart, so it needs a shifter. But it's got early B-body bucket seats in it, cool old Superior steering wheel. It's got a race weight fiberglass lift-off hood, so it's like stupid light. It's got really cool toe tabs on it. These were actually welded straight to the frame of the car with like a stick welder. And then he remade like a little outrigger bracket going from the toe tab to the bumper, and that's what this bolt is here. So this bolt and this bolt right here are the only thing that's actually holding the bumper on. So just kind of a thrown together cool old race car. That's why the bumper's so close to the fenders. But I put slots on it and just redid all the brakes. It's got all new brakes front to back. It had Krager's on it. Great trunk lid, great tail panel. This side's a little bit better as far as the quarter goes. It's got a little bit of rust right there, but this lip all down here and the whole rocker is all like perfect on these cars. Needs some rubber, you know, classic, but rubber's all shrank. This car sat in the sun for probably 20 or 30 years, but still has the original 340 in it. It's got a bunch of older, I guess, speed equipment on it. It's got a big Holley Dominator single plane intake on it. Still has J heads. I don't know a whole lot about what's done to the motor, but let me see if I could try to lift the hood off here with one hand. Show you how light the hood is. I could do it with one hand. But like I said, still has a 70 dated 340 in it. Still has J heads on it. Said new brakes. It's got a 700 double pumper on it. I did like a bunch of random stuff: radiator, thermostat housing, thermostat hoses, fuel line, new alternator, just new plugs, your basic tune-up stuff, and just stuff that you put on a car that's been sitting for however long. But the thing actually runs pretty good. I'm gonna buy another distributor for it, because the one that's in it, it's actually an old Excel distributor, but it's seen better days. The wiring in it has definitely seen better days, but it runs with it. It doesn't run amazing with this distributor, but it runs good enough to, you know, hot rod around. But I'm gonna do a little cold start here. This thing actually sounds really, really good. I don't know anything about the cam specs, but I can tell you it has a very, very healthy cam. probably got in the 250 or 260s for duration, and it's definitely got probably 108 or 106 degrees of lobe separation. It's a pretty nasty little cam. But if the thing runs as good as it sounds, it should be at least a 11-second car. It's got still has the original 8 3/4 A-body 8 3/4 in the rear, and it actually has 488 gears and a sure grip in it. So it's a pretty fun little car. But it's got a fully built 727 in it, reverse manual valve body, B&M reverse manual valve body. It's got a converter in it. Now, let me show you the trunk. It's actually got some cool decals. Yeah. Cool old decals on the inside of the trunk lid. Got an old Slingshot Fairbanks converter, but that's the original color. Battery was relocated in the trunk. It's an old. This car has been the same way since probably the 80s. It came with pretty much NOS Chrysler small bolt pattern Craigers with fairly newish slicks. I got a bunch of other parts in there. This car came with a shitload of parts. But trunk floor is nice and solid. There's no holes in the trunk floor. Yeah, so I bought this car. This car was basically in Philadelphia its entire life. I bought it out of Bensalem. I live in New Jersey, so it was a fairly local car. It's only about a half hour from my house. But the gentleman that owned it and built it was Thomas G. Gate of Bensalem, PA. He actually passed away a little less than a year ago, and I was fortunate enough to buy it from his wife. She was kind enough to actually let me look over the car and come up with a price so we can bring it back to life. I got pictures of it of when it was sitting in a yard. Tom had no garage, no sheds, nothing. So everything he owned, lawnmower parts for this car, anything he owned was shoved in this car. The trunk was full, the interior was full when I got it. But yeah, so I'm just trying to keep it alive for old Tom here. But me and my cousin actually bought this car. We split the price. But all right, let's see if she'll fire off here. It's not too chilly out. It's probably about 60 degrees. But see what she'll do. Got my fuel tank rigged up because I don't have a gas tank for this car yet. So, yeah. Let's see here. Fucking hate this shifter. I get a quarter stick for it or something. Alright. A couple pumps. Needs a starter too. moved out into the street here so I can get the dart past the trees. But yeah, thing sounds really, really nasty. I have no clue the compression, no clue the cam specs, but it's definitely a healthy sound at 340. But yeah, supposedly this car was street raced a lot on Front Street in Philly, and Summit ACO Dragway is what she told me. But yeah, it's definitely a pretty kick-ass little duster. But alright, I'm gonna move on to the 70 Dart over here. I've had this car for a few years. This was a slant 6 automatic car that I put a small block and a 4-speed in. So this is definitely a fun little car. It's got a little 318 in it, but it's probably going to be the best sounding 318 you've ever heard. That's what everybody else says. It's got a old direct connection purple shaft in it, with a little bit of head porting and a single plane. So it might make like 325 horse. I don't know what it makes. It's enough to be fun with a 4-speed, but it's got a 410 sure grip in it. But turn the power on. This car leaks like a sieve by the windshield, and it just poured last night, which is why all the floors are soaking wet. So that's cool. Alright, let's see here. I need to rebuild this shifter. Gets stuck in a reverse gate. But I always crank this car a little bit with the ignition off. That way to get a little bit of oil pressure going before she starts. Sounds great through full exhaust. I got the Dart moved back into its spot. That's probably going to finish it off for this little video. I might try to do more videos talking and whatever, narrating stuff. I normally do just like slideshows and stuff like that, but I don't know. I might give the content thing a try. I got plenty of stuff to make content on, but this is my parents' house. I still live here. So all three of these are my cars. That's probably going to be your most interesting car out of the fleet, but that's a big block Tunnel Ram 440, kind of a pro stock tribute car that I made. So this car hasn't been to the track yet. I only finished it a few months ago, but this should be an interesting car to make videos at the track with and get some content. Still got to do some lower quarter work on this car, but it's got a full interior with an 8-point cage in it, full stock dash. But yeah, you got a bunch of cars in here. It's all my dad's projects. '70 Roadrunner 383 4-speed car, Gator grain top, it's a '78 Trans Am, and there's a couple more cars tucked in the back there. But like I said, plenty of cars to make content on, but always working on something around here. But alright, I guess that'll do it for this little video. I guess let me know if you guys want to see anything on any car specifically, and if I have some time, maybe I'll shoot another video of it. Alright.